One of the enduring aspirations and ambitions of bright kids when I was a small child was to go to university if you were a bright kid, and it was realised that bright kids generally did go there. Universities were much revered and respected in the probably 1950s, 60s, even 1970s as places of higher learning where you could probe some of the great sort of existential questions of human existence on the one hand, but you could also learn skills, ways of thinking, concepts even, if you like, that would give you a pretty damn good life, to be honest with you. And that our professions, those that we were most relied upon, particularly our doctors, our dentists, our clinicians, our skilled people, lawyers even, academics, those who would probably go on to become part of the managerial class of this country through the political and policy making systems, that's where they went. So if you wanted to be aspirational, ambitious, and you didn't want necessarily to be an entrepreneur, but you wanted to have a nice clean office somewhere and a bit of, societal respect, that's where you went. That's where you got your degree. And pretty much it worked. You came out with a degree, even if it was just a rote BA, and you pretty much had a job for life. Well, that's changed, you'd have to say, including, obviously, the public perception of universities in the early 21st century. And our next guest is Dr. James Kierstead. He is an academic, now currently works for the New Zealand Initiative. But he's just completed a survey, if you like, an investigation into academic freedom in this country, the ability to do all the things that I've told you about, to sort of explore the frontiers of knowledge, to combat and to contest ideas, to make basically this country a better place, and certainly to advance thinking so that our next range of students come out with a range of opinions and a range of evidence that allows them to make considered judgments in the world and as they go on and live their lives. His survey was published at the end of last month, so this month just gone, about 10 days ago, and it makes some spectacular conclusions about the freedom that is available in our institutions, in our tertiary institutions, and particularly our universities in this country. And Dr. Kierstead joins us now. Welcome to the show, James. Lovely to have you on.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
Okay, first of all, can you tell me why you conducted this survey?
Well, I was an academic myself. I was at Victoria University for 10 years, and I increasingly had concerns about people's ability to sort of speak about controversial topics. And, I have a lot of academic friends and contacts, and I've been hearing a lot from them as well. And, of course, there had been all these incidents that had hit the news, the deplatforming of Don Brash, etc., while I was here. So I thought, this would be a good time to do a sort of comprehensive investigation of what was going on. And even though a lot of the incidents we covered were already in the public domain, they'd been covered by the press, I wanted to just sort of put them together with a few surveys that have been conducted by the Free Speech Union, Heterodox New Zealand, and Tertiary Education Union, some other groups, and get some testimonies from academics, anonymous testimonies in all cases, because academics don't want their names attached to these things, which kind of tells you something in itself.
It does.
And then we conducted, an analysis into what we saw as the three main threats to academic freedom, which is the sort of progressive extremism, for lack of a better term, the Chinese Communist Party interfering, and also what you might call, what some people call neoliberalism. So this is the idea that the universities are too obsessed with branding and competition at this point rather than true academic values.
Okay, all right, let's go each of those in turn. You say there's a culture of fear in our universities. Now, I've got to be honest with you. That seems something that a 20-year-old journalist working for Stuff would write. I suspect you're not a 20-year-old journalist working for Stuff, James Kierstead. So what proof is there that there is a culture of fear in our universities?
I actually didn't write that. It also wasn't written by a 20-year-old working for Stuff. It was written by an academic. So that was actually one of the testimonies. But the evidence is, in the rest of the report. So we have all these surveys showing that across a range of topics, between 20 and 40% of students and between 20 and 50% of academics report feeling uncomfortable or unfree discussing controversial topics. So you just ask them, do you feel comfortable or uncomfortable, free or unfree, discussing things like ethnicity and gender and other controversial topics. And yeah, like large minorities, shall we say, of academics and students say that they do feel uncomfortable. Across two different surveys, between 45% and 53% of academics reported feeling uncomfortable or unfree, questioning received wisdom, raising differing perspectives, or stating controversial or unpopular opinions. So that's actually what it says in the in the Education and Training Act. The Academic Freedom involves these things. So if you ask academics, do you feel like you have the ability to do what the Education Act actually says you should be able to do in terms of academic freedom? And again, like actually, around half of academics say that they don't feel free. And then you have all the evidence of these incidents. So it's not just that people kind of feel there's something going on, there isn't something going on. There are all these occasions in which academic freedom was clearly breached. So, Don Brash was deplatformed. The listener letter, two of the authors of the listener letter investigated by the Royal Society. Anne-Marie Brady, a lecturer at Christchurch, is investigated for a report she wrote about the links between New Zealand universities and China. And, people can read the report. There are 21 incidents in total like this. So, yeah, there's something really happening. Academics feel like there's something happening, that they can't speak freely. And, again, we have all these anonymous testimonies as well. So I think at this point there's lots and lots of evidence.
Yes, the other thing you say, it's really interesting. You say many academics fear being disciplined. And then I thought the next one was interesting. Overlooked for promotion or even sacked for their opinions. I'm assuming on the basis of the report that I've read of yours, James, what you're talking about is having conservative opinions rather than radical Marxist opinions.
Yeah, I mean, there are some cases of people who get in trouble for saying things from the left. So Mike Joy, who in 2012, then again later basically got in trouble for saying that New Zealand wasn't 100% pure as it made itself out to be. So he got in trouble, or, there was a controversy about that. But on the whole, yeah, you're right. On the whole, people are getting in trouble for, saying things which are not now the orthodoxy in universities about gender and about the Treaty of Waitangi. I mean, the listener letter controversy, that whole saga, which is the longest incident in our report, that's a case in point where really what they got in trouble for is saying that Maturanga Maori or Maori traditional lore was valuable, but it was not the same as science. So that's the kind of opinion that will cause, a huge sort of flame war. And I think people are aware of that in the university. And yeah, I mean, you can go through our incidents. I think that it's pretty clear that, it's really these progressive ideas, these progressive sort of shibboleths that you're not allowed to
But the interesting issue is that universities like to think, and I think wrongly, that they are independent vessels, despite the huge input of public monies that goes into them. And the lack of accountability is they hide behind academic freedom as for their lack of accountability, James. I'm interested in how you'd be able to divine or discern how somebody had been disciplined, that's I suppose easier, but overlooked for promotion or even sacked for their opinions, because I'm pretty sure that universities would say, oh gosh, we wouldn't overlook anybody for having a different view, or gosh, we wouldn't possibly say.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's a very difficult sort of methodological thing. And I mean, all I can say in that case, we don't have smoking guns in that case, but all I can say is that there are lots of academics, some of whom are in the testimonies you already cited, who say to us they think that they're at risk of getting cut, of being managed out, basically. So they're not afraid of being sort of outright fired, which I guess is a good sign, but they are afraid that, like, next time there's a package of cuts, if there's someone who's spoken out on an issue, then, the university will not say we're cutting you because of your views. They're going to say, oh, we just needed to reduce offerings in this program and, not enough student numbers, and we've looked at your file and you don't have as many publications in this category as the next person, so we're going to get rid of you, and really there's something else going on behind closed doors. But as I say, we can't have definitive proof of those things, but this is something that a lot of academics fear. And also I'd say that some of the testimonies talk about people saying that they saw this happen to others. So some people said, at this university, this academic criticized the vice chancellor for doing X, and then that person mysteriously was out of a job the following year.
You say that the two topics that Kiwi academics and students feel most uncomfortable discussing are the Treaty of Waitangi and gender/sex, both of which have become totemic issues for progressives. Is there any light on the horizon on that, or is it getting worse?